I'm sorry, I got a massive kick out of the fact that we have Finn gonna be tutoring Lily to become a master strategist, and her master plan, she gets up on that stage and she says, "Behold my master strategy. You all do your own thing." That's her plan. You all just do your own thing. If we all have a strategy together, then they're going to see patterns. Now, I understand that Lily's probably going to enact her strategy with like specific people, like just the Hestia family, but I still was like, okay, so what's the strategy? Just there's no strategy. I found it a little bit funny, but still really cool to see her kind of just putting it into work and breaking open the books and becoming what could possibly be their Finn, which is really, really cool. But yeah, really fantastic episode, episode 10 of Danmachi season 5. Things are really ramping up. I guess I can finally put to rest my theory around the people of the Freya familia, or at least her familia, turning on her at some point. Like, I had this whole theory about Hedden wanting to make it to where she fails because he knows it's hurting her, all that kind of stuff. I think Horn was the last of that. I don't see anybody turning on her now because, yeah, as she sort of, it's not set in stone, but it sort of did put out there, yeah, if I lose, I'll go back to heaven if that's what you want me to do. Like she says, if I win, I want Belle, but if I lose, whatever you want. If you want me to go back to heaven, that's fine. So, and it didn't really have like a, yes, that's what's going to happen. And I'm assuming that's probably not going to happen, even though I really do feel like everybody wants her out of there now. Nobody trusts her. Everybody's allying with Hestia Familiar. Like, they all want her down. Very cool to kind of get a little bit of hint in this episode that it's almost like everything is geared towards her not losing. Like, the guild and everything is, like, allowing it, which makes sense. In this setting, they're sort of portraying it as Freya's Familia is the strongest. They're super powerful. Yes, technically they're playing it out like Loki family can offset that quite a bit. And so they didn't want Loki Familia involved with the whole thing. But it's sort of laying it out. Like, even Freya herself said, like, they're not going to do anything to me. Like Hestia says, we don't have to do the board game. Nobody likes you right now. You're gone. No, they're not going to do anything. Because as long as these things are in play, as long as, what does she call it? The 3 great quests, as long as those are incomplete, you can't get rid of me. I don't know if they've ever gotten into the 3 great quests. I'm assuming it has to do with the dungeon and that whole history about the dragon and stuff like that. Maybe those are all individual quests, 1, 2, and then something else. But as long as something needs to be done and they're the most powerful, they're not going to do anything to me. Like, she almost has a leeway to do what the hell she wants to do, which is kind of bad. It's kind of bad. And again, that plays into the whole politics of this entire episode. Everybody wants to help Hestia. Not that they want to help Hestia. They want to get back to Freya. And Hestia got the challenge. They want her down. And the guild isn't going to let them just go over there and destroy them. It'll offset the power and the balance. And so, again, crazy that they can just do whatever the hell they want. It is really, really interesting, but at the same time, it makes sense to me. That's the other thing there. So, really cool stuff there. I think the oddest thing about this, I understand why, again, they stop Loki. They don't want them to get involved. They don't want to offset the balance. And again, I don't think it's an offset of balance necessarily, or I don't think it's necessarily that they don't want Loki to get involved to offset the balance. It's literally just they don't want Freya to lose. That's the odd thing there. They just don't want Freya to lose. That's the weird thing. The guild is putting this into play to where they can't lose. And so it's like, yes, it technically does open the door to this having to be a feat. Like, Hestia Familia and everybody, all the allies, this is a massive feat, which is really crazy to think about, that literally it is everybody that can be involved right now, that wants to be involved right now, minus Loki, and it's still as if this is impossible. That's what they're, like, Hermes is a smart dude, and Hermes himself is saying it's impossible. Now, it does look like everybody's pulling all the stops out to try to figure out something they can do. I don't know what the dagger is that Finn got that is going to be possibly something they can use. Maybe possibly it's an artifact weapon, a magic weapon that could possibly be used against Otoro or somebody that's really powerful in the group. That's the interesting thing there. Additionally, Hermes sort of implied that he had something that could help. They brought up specifically Aisha. Again, Aisha technically was part of a familia that is dissolved at this point because their leader literally got sent back to heaven by Freya. And Hermes said specifically that right now she's a part of a fake party, thus implying that she's not part of a familia, which could mean that she could, because she's not affiliated with anything, she can be involved with Hestia's party. And yes, part of the alliance. But he's sort of implying the idea that that's not going to be enough if there's any chance of winning, and he doesn't finish the sentence. Based on the fact that he's talking to Asfi I'm wondering if he's implying that he wants Osfi to get involved somehow. And now Osfi, I don't know if they've really indicated that she's like super OP or anything like that, but she is somebody that could be very talented. And again, it could just be implying the idea that he has some other thing that he can put into play that'll help out. Like some other item or something he's going to find that they can use in their battle. Really, this entire episode is a bunch of people saying, I have something that might be able to help, but it's not enough. I have something that will help, but it's not enough. Finn, I have something that will help, but it's not enough. Everybody's saying it's impossible, but I'm going to do my best. It's really taking all those puzzle pieces and coming together that's going to ultimately help them win. Now, it could possibly turn into what I originally thought, where it's going to come down to they're not going to win. Like, they're going to get down to the point where they're going to be losing, and then Belle's just going to really just appeal to Freya somehow, / Seer, and he's going to get through to her, and she's going to give up. And then, of course, after that, it's pretty much the question mark is, what happens to Freya? I don't think in the end it's going to be Freya going to heaven. I really do think that she's still going to remain a staple in this area, and it's going to be mostly around the idea that she's going to accept the Seer within herself, and that's what Belle's whole thing is here. In the end, he's like, okay, I want something too. Can I have something too? Yeah, sure, whatever. I want to see the real you. I want to see Seer. I want to see her again to talk to her, / the real you. He just wants to talk to Seer, who he still believes is Freya, and she doesn't want to accept that. And I think that's going to be the breaking point in the end, is he's going to finally be able to talk to her and be able to get across to her that you want to claim that it's role play, but you really enjoyed it, didn't you? You really enjoyed being that person. You were really invested in it. It's not role play. It's you. Again, like I was saying in the last episode, all the reactions that Freya is having to what Belle is saying is her reacting as Seer, as much as she doesn't want to accept that it's part of her. It is her in the end. And I wonder if that'll probably part of what Anya is going to end up getting involved with. She's really still broken at this point, and she doesn't want to leave her room. And I'm wondering if she's possibly going to be a side member to kind of come in there and get involved. It does look like her brother came in there in the last minute, which that sort of does lean me towards the idea of possibly an involvement there again. I hope he's not there to manipulate her into helping Freya for the sake of helping Seer. There's a side of me that almost wonders if he's just trying to help her, but there could be a part of it that he's going to end up choosing Anya over Freya, which will be very interesting. I don't think we've really ever kind of got into great detail about his alliance with Freya. Like, yes, he is of the Freya familia. Yes, he's invested in Freya. He's obviously served her for a long time. He's become probably who he is through Freya. But there's still a side of me that kind of wonders, in a case like this, when it comes to family, and how much possibly what Freya did with Seer has hurt his sister, as much as he doesn't want to admit it, and he wants to stay strong, and he wants her to be strong, I almost wonder if he possibly would turn on Freya right now because of how much Seer hurt her. I don't know. I don't think so. He's probably going to possibly get her to help him out, help Freya in protecting Freya. But we'll see. I mean, I'm always open for a very interesting twist to a character. Because again, at this point, I don't think Hedden is going to turn on her. I don't think Otoro is going to turn on her. I think everybody right now on Freya's side is going to be defending her because, again, one of the possible results is that she would be willing to go back to heaven if that's what Hestia wants in the end. Again, I don't think Hestia is going to do that. Hestia is going to see how much Seer means to Belle and want to keep her around, even though I don't think anybody's going to be happy about Freya. And again, I think for the good of the entire city, it seems like at this point we've seen in this episode, nobody wants Freya to go anywhere. She's sort of a necessary evil. They don't like her. They want her gone, but at the same time, they need her in the end. But my gosh, I've been all over the place. I pretty much covered the entire episode, but there's some bits that I kind of skipped over. One interesting thing is when they had the meeting of the gods, Loki at that point does reveal to Hestia, we can't get involved. The guild said, no, we can't break those rules. If we got involved, it would mean you lose immediately. Like, because they put it in the war game rules that Loki can't get involved, if we get involved, you immediately lose. Freya wins immediately. Default. The question mark is that Loki says that eyes cannot be borrowed. It reveals later on that, yes, Freya had Otoro go to eyes. And what? Question mark. That's the massive question mark I have. I'm like, are they skipping this for some reason? Are they going to reveal it later on? Freya had Otoro tell eyes not to get involved, to stay away from Belle. Now, yes, we see from Freya's perspective, right after Otoro leaves, she was being jealous. She doesn't want Belle to be around Eyes because she's jealous. But she made it a part of the war game that she doesn't get involved. So all I can think of is that when they set the rules through the guild, they said, yes, don't have Loki get involved, but also put in there that Eyes can't be around Belle, strictly because Freya just doesn't want Belle to be around Eyes right now, because she wants to get Belle right now. She's convinced that she's going to win, and this is her last chance to get Belle, and she doesn't like the idea of him being around Eyes. Question mark is, was it the guild made a rule that Ice cannot train Belle right now or be anywhere near Belle, which is kind of a weird stipulation to put in the contract, because I would assume that Hestia would find out about that, because she's got the layout of the war game. Or the bigger question mark that I have, does Freya have something on Eyes that she would be able to do that? Like, what is she? Did she tell Ortoril to tell her, yeah, remind her about this whole situation and have her not get involved? Otherwise, I'll reveal this, or I'll do this, I'll hurt this person. What does she say? That's the question mark. But yeah, the dagger, they did mention specifically the 60th floor, or we have information for the 60th floor Thalia Glacier. And I'm assuming that that has something to do with the dagger because it seems like it's encased in ice. But I'm assuming this guy that Finn was talking to was a member of the guild because he seemed very adamant. No, they can't get involved. Loki cannot get involved. We cannot have it. It will cause this imbalance, all this kind of stuff. Again, it seems like the guild is specifically saying we want Freya to win. We don't want to lose them. It's pretty crazy. But I like right here, technically having Hedden seems like he's spying on them, probably for the sake of making sure that the guild does not allow Loki to get involved, which again is another curious thing there. Does once again show that Hedden is getting involved in making sure about this. But it is odd that specifically when Finn questioned him, is this as part of Freya's plan that, not getting Loki involved, Hedden does say no, because she plans to take down everyone. I'm wondering if right now Freya is sort of in the mindset, because this whole thing with Charming failed, that if she were to win this war game, her ultimate goal at this point will be to take out everybody and just destroy the entire setup here. Because again, what we've had this entire season is Freya trying to keep the status quo of this city. Keep everything normal, charm everybody, keep the whole process going, just erasing Belle from everybody's mind. And the whole point there was to keep the system going so that Belle keeps getting stronger and continuing to become an adventurer and a hero and all this kind of stuff. I wonder if now her goal, if she were to win, is just to wipe everybody out. Not have to charm everybody, but just to win and full domination of the entire thing. Reset everything. Erase everything. Very question mark. But yeah, we had the whole apology scene, which was great. Everybody's just like super sad. Lily just completely glomping on him. So sorry. It was cute. I love that whole scene. It was a funny little bit there. And yes, technically a good way of putting it, that don't apologize. Just help me instead. I don't need your apologies. Just help me win this. This is something I need to do. Hestia comes in with the whole war game layout. Everybody lays out what they want to do. Whelp's going to make some gear. Everybody pretty much is starting to set up for this whole thing. And like I said, Lily, doing some training under Finn, which was really, really cool. But they also got into, yes, finally leveling up Belle. Hestia finally decided, okay, I guess I'll level him up. I've been keeping from leveling up because I don't want him to think that he's getting too powerful, so we'll finally level him up. He gets a new skill, which apparently was triggered by the fact that, I'm assuming that was triggered by the fact that Freya tried to charm him at some point. Again, technically it implies there that Freya nearly charmed him and then stopped herself. It does look more like Belle resisted it, but I'm guessing that was probably the point in which he finally got that skill. Like while she was trying to charm him, bam, he unlocked a new skill. And also he's apparently able to run away better again, which I don't know what would have triggered that. I would assume probably through Hedden constantly killing him over and over again. I'm guessing that's what caused him to get that ranked up. It's just getting killed by Hedden over and over again. I did like the little bit there where Belle is asking Hestia, do you think they can win? And again, another case where somebody's like, it's just not going to work. No, Hestia more puts in the idea of, I don't know, I'm not a god of war, but she just knows strictly that Belle can't fight them. The assumption there is that Hestia knows based on just seeing Belle interact with all of them and seeing how everything kind of resolved, that Belle doesn't seem like he's angry with people there. And that he spent so much time with them, I'm guessing she's assuming that his time with them has caused him to bond with them. She knows Belle. And I think even unless he told her specifically about all the people that he met while being stuck there, either way, she's probably going to assume that he made friends with them. and that he's probably not going to want to fight them. We had a brief scene seeing Horn. Implies that Horn is trying to keep that form, which the way this kind of makes sense to me is that, yes, they're like, we healed him all the way. She's not regaining consciousness. What's going on? And her assumption is that because Horn is trying to retain that form, she's not able to regain consciousness. There's two sides that I can see this. One being the fact that because Belle stabbed Seer, that in her mind, in Horn's mind, in that form of Seer, she believes that she's dead. So because Horn's trying to retain that form, she's in a permanent state of death until she gives up that form. And the other side I want to believe is it could possibly be, and it could be both, is the idea that because she is keeping that form, retaining that form, and not letting it go, she's not able to regain her mana. She's stuck in that form until she releases it and regains consciousness because she's able to restore her mana by releasing that form. Implying the idea that she turns into Seer and her mana starts depleting. And the moment that she depletes it all the way, if she doesn't switch back out of the form, the mana won't regenerate. And thus she's stuck there unconscious because she's permanently depleted, basically. She's constantly using up the rest of her mana. I can see both of them, but I'm probably going to think more in the first, which is more tragic, and the idea that Horn as Seer is dead. And thus she cannot regain consciousness because she won't let go of that form. She wants to be almost like she wants to keep that reminded, which I wouldn't understand that. I don't understand why Horn herself would want to keep this reminder that Seer exists unless she doesn't want Freya to give up on what she believes she should be. Again, she, in that form, wanted to be saved. So Horn could be keeping that form out as a permanent reminder to her goddess that this is what she really wants. She just doesn't want to accept it. It's kind of an interesting little mindset. Again, for the longest time this entire season, I am extremely fascinated by Horn and Seer, the bridge to Freya. That bridge is a really fascinating thing about this entire arc. I love it. I almost want to read the novel just for this section. I just want to read this segment to see how much more deeper this entire story around Freya and Horn and Seer really gets. Because I would imagine that the novel gets way more in their heads. But yeah, the episode wraps up with the speech from Lily. Again, even though it was a kind of a dorky little thing there, it was cute. I like the fact that it kind of lays out this idea of, being cute, but then at the same time following it up with this really strong message at the very end as a way of kind of capturing him. It was all Finn's plan. But yeah, she apparently has another plan to go with. And then at that point, having Belle bring up, he thinks something might happen. Now, my assumption here, and it was something that I brought up, or it came to mind immediately when it came to the idea that all they had to do was capture Freya, whereas Freya Familia only has to capture, where Freya Familia has to capture all the gods and goddesses of the Alliance. So it's like capture one versus a whole bunch, which, what came to my mind immediately, is a very difficult task because, and I think this is probably what Belle is bringing up to Lily right here, it's a good chance. I don't know if it'll be the case because it looks like Freya is sitting up there as if she wants to get caught. Like she's just sitting up on a throne going, all right, let's see what happens. I don't know. She could end up getting up right after the whole battle starts, but my mindset goes to, and I think, again, this is something that probably Belle thinks is going to happen. He's probably telling Lily, Freya can transform. And I think Belle right here is saying, I know based on her turning into Seer that she can transform into other things. She's probably going to disguise herself so that we can't find her. That's what's going to make it more difficult for them to win this battle, is that it's as simple as Freya transforming into Otoril and running off somewhere. Nobody's going to attack Otoril. One, because he's extremely powerful and nobody wants to F with him. But if he's not engaging you, just pass him by. So if people are running up there to go see Freya and then suddenly they see Otoril running past them, they're going to go, okay, just keep going. Don't look back. Hope that he didn't see you. Keep running towards the mound where you think Freya's at. It's the perfect strategy. And I think that's what Belle is trying to hint at here. And I think he knows it's going to happen. But yeah, the other interesting thing at the very end was, of course, the flower. That everybody got a flower they have to keep on them. And apparently getting that flower indicates that they're out, they lose. And Freya gets what looks like a lavender flower. And now I'm not an expert at flowers, so I just Googled it. Sorry, I'm not an expert at flowers. But I Googled it, and several responses come up, and this is why I hate this kind of stuff about language of flowers and all that kind of stuff, because there's like a million different interpretations of it. But one came up, the first one that came up was purity and devotion, because he said something effective, oh, this That's fitting, or that's an odd choice or something like that. She said something to the effect of that, which I guess could be funny because, yes, if she looks at it and thinks purity and devotion, it's kind of funny if you think about it. One, that she's Freya. She's not pure. I mean, she even said it when when Belle ran out of her room. I've never had a person nor a god even run from my bedchambers like that. She's been around. She's sort of a bicycle. That's what her whole thing is. So the idea of purity doesn't really fit her. But devotion being with it, that's interesting. And the idea, again, of somebody that typically wouldn't be devoted to a single person because of what she is, but more so in the idea of her devotion to Belle, her obsession and her dedication to strictly Belle. Somebody that, is somebody that's all about the love of anybody and spreading that love and just lust and all that kind of stuff, to being strictly devoted to one single person, which is Belle. Very interesting. Like, both sides of it kind of works in a way. Yeah, the other ones that came up is serenity and peace. No, I don't get how that would even apply here. Silence and grace. No, I don't see how that would fit here. Spiritual connection. I guess. I don't know. I think it's purity and devotion, which, again, it kind of makes sense to her response to it. Yeah, she says it's ironic. I mean, it could be an aspect that I don't think we've ever seen the flower before. It might be what she was talking about, her story that she gave Belle, is that it was in a field of lavenders. I don't think so, though. No, because they were just at a graveyard. It wasn't a field of lavenders. I think it's probably the aspect of purity, but anyhow, that's my thoughts on the episode. A really, really cool episode. Looking forward to the crazy stuff that's coming up. We'll have to see how things lay out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below, comment, let me know what's the episode. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. If you like this content and you want to support channel more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate it, as. Until next time, I'll take care.